Battery life is one of the most precious resources we have. Whether it's an old device, new device, big, small, doesn't matter, we always want more. So here are some tips on how to get the very best battery life out of your iOS device. So the first and probably most obvious way to get more battery out of your device has to do with the display. As you might expect, the display uses the most battery out of anything on your phone, and having it at its brightest setting will use significantly more battery than if you have it at 3/4 or half brightness. So turning it down, which you can do in the control center or in settings, will help extend your battery. Now also, you can turn on auto brightness, which is in settings under display and brightness, and this will automatically adjust the screen depending on the lighting around you, so you don't have to do it yourself. And finally, for the display, you can set the auto lock timer shorter. This again can be done in settings under display and brightness, and this will help keep the display off when you aren't using it so you can save battery. Now, aside from the display, some of the apps you may be using may be sipping more power than you want or expect. Now, using the app usually won't be an issue. Sure, it will use battery, but you're using the phone. However, some of these apps run in the background and continue to use battery even when you might not expect it. This is called background app refresh, and it allows apps to update themselves while you're doing other things. To check which apps are doing this, you go into settings, then scroll down to battery. Here you can see a list of how much each app is using your battery. Underneath some of the apps, you will see background activity, and this lets you know that the app may still be running even if you aren't using it. You can turn this off or adjust it by going into settings, then general, and then background refresh. You can turn this feature off altogether for every app, or if there's one app that you just don't want to be running, you can do it on an app by app basis. In a similar way, location services can also run in the background and use more battery. To check this, go into settings, then privacy, and then location services. Here you can see every app that you have and what location permissions it has. The arrow icons next to the app let you know how an app is using your location. Purple means it has been used recently, gray is in the past 24 hours, and an outline is a geofence for when you arrive or leave a location. If there's an app here that has used your location when you weren't expecting it to, you can go through and adjust the permissions for when it is allowed to use your location. For instance, only when you're actually using the app and not in the background. Adjusting this for your apps will help minimize what's running in the background and thus save battery. Another tip has to do with Wi-Fi and cellular. When you have a Wi-Fi connection available, using that will use less battery than cellular, so definitely flip it on. At the same time though, when you're out and about and don't have Wi-Fi, turning Wi-Fi off will help because your phone won't be constantly searching for a Wi-Fi network to connect to. Once you arrive somewhere with Wi-Fi, flip it back on, and this will give you the best battery life. Now lastly is a built-in feature to iOS called low power mode. You can activate this by going into settings, then under battery and toggling it on. This will reduce how much battery your device uses by quite a bit. It does this by turning off features like mail fetch, Hey Siri, background apps, even some visual effects in the user interface. This is all done in the hopes of saving more power, and it does work. You can tell it's on because the battery icon turns yellow, and if you need a bit more juice, flipping this on will definitely help. But those are some surefire ways to get better battery life out of your iOS device. Also, be sure to let us know down below in the comments if you have any other tips. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you can see when new videos are out, and visit MacRumors.com for the latest Apple news. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm Matt Gonzalez with MacRumors, and I'll see you next time.